Good morning everyone, welcome back to Slick's Car Care, and you join us on a very dreary British day. And we have this BMW F10 M5 in the Ceramic Pro Silver package, which is proving to be our most popular package at the moment, with the bolt-ons of removing the wheels and potentially some leather repair, but we'll see about that one. So yeah, obviously we've already prepped and washed the car. Now it's time to pull it inside and we can take a look at this paintwork. Right, so now we've got the M5 inside. I'll tell you a little bit of background on the car. So this belongs to one of our old customers, this guy called Nick. He used to have a Porsche 911, which we detailed for him previously. I'll try and ping a photo of that up now if I can find one. Really, really nice guy. And he's just bought this, obviously, and now brought it back in for a very similar service. Obviously he was impressed before, so let's make sure we impress him this time round again. But let's take a quick look around the car now. And let's see what kind of stuff we're going to be working with on it. We've already spotted a few things, so let's see what else we can find in the dark with a, a handheld light. Hello everyone, welcome back to Slick's Car Care and welcome back to another video. Obviously we've got this gorgeous BMW F10 M5 in for a whole lot of work, to be honest with you. I didn't realise quite the condition of the paintwork until we pulled it inside. As you can see, a lot of the car has been painted. I think the customer did mention this to me when we initially looked at the car, but it'd been a while since we looked at it until when it come into the workshop. So obviously some of that had obviously slipped my mind. But obviously there's sanding marks, overspray, holograms, some areas which like this on the back bumper are heavily scratched. So it did need a lot of work to get this paintwork looking right. So as you can see, the paintwork isn't in brilliant condition, but at the same time, we were kind of already aware of this. In the wash stages on the passenger wing, we actually found a little bit of masking tape with some paint on it, so obviously that kind of highlighted the fact that the car had had some paintwork, which is obviously more apparent now that the car's inside. There's a few sanding marks in areas, a lot of holograms, and a bit of overspray on the back, on the back of the boot where the number plate goes. But that also, in a way, has kind of done us a favour. The body shop has obviously run over it with a rotary polisher, which has done a lot of cutting for us. So I'll show you now the test spot that we've done on the bonnet and the result that we're getting. So here's the before section. You can see all of the holograms that are covering this area, and as I come down here, how much better does that look? So we've only used a fairly gentle combination on this. We've used Koshchemi F6, which is a fine cutting compound. And then on the 3-inch we've used a white Roops foam pad, which is a very, very fine cutting pad. But on the 5-inch we'll probably use the yellow pad because the 5-inch is a bit less aggressive than the 3-inch. But yeah, it's a fairly gentle combination really for BMW paint, because typically it's a little bit harder, but doesn't seem to be the case on this one. But that also may vary over the rest of the car as well, so we'll see. But let's crack on. So this is actually a really enjoyable car to polish. The paint responded really well, and even on certain areas like this boot, it was the original paint, so it did need a slightly different combination to get it looking right, but again it still responded beautifully to the polishing methods which we gave it. So all in all, it was a really enjoyable car to do. So I hope you guys are going to enjoy the results that we got in this as much as we enjoyed making them. So on the areas which were actually original paint, we ended up using a Roots blue wall pad, which is quite coarse, and then just finishing down using the white pad and the Koshkemi F6 that we were using on the rest of the car. So the original areas were both the rear quarters, the boot, the rear bumper and the roof. The rest of it had a paint. Now, if you guys at home do enjoy this sort of content, please do consider subscribing to the channel. Every single time that button is pressed, it helps our channel grow. And, well, to be honest, if you do press that button, I'll love you forever, so you may as well. So I'm sure by now all of you have become used to having Joe on the channel, and I thought I'd share this little clip which I found on the camera with you from this week. But unfortunately, I think it's going to be the last video, apart from maybe one that we've got in the archives that we're slowly building up. It's going to feature Joe. There's no hard feelings between me and him, but he's decided to go back to his old job as a panel beater, I believe. But yeah, I wish him all the best in his future endeavours, and I thank him very much for his time at Slicks Car Care. So the gloss blacks on this one were slightly interesting. They're obviously very faded, almost grey on this car, but took actually very little work using a little 1-inch pad by hand all around the window trims to bring the colour back on those, as I can show you in this clip here. Just doing those little details like that does make such a huge difference to the overall appearance of the car, and that's why we also spent a bit of time polishing up these back boxes, which are actually visible from the back of the car, not standing right next to it, but if you're stood a few metres behind you can actually see these steel back boxes. So we gave these a good polish up too, as well as the exhaust tips, just to make sure everything's looking tip top. So as we were nearing the end of the polishing on the M5, we thought it was time to give the engine bay a dress with NLD dress, which, as you know by now, is my dressing of choice. It's brilliant for engine bays, arch liners and inaccessible areas like this. But once that was done, there's a couple of minor touch-ins to do on the front of the roof. Just using a toothpick and some colour-coded paints, we were able to do this. Just take your eye off them so they're not so obvious. But then it was time to get the wheels off and get those outside and prepped ready for coatings. So using the usual mix of tar and glue removers, fallout removers and clay, we got these wheels absolutely spotless. And obviously degreasing the tyres as well, front and back, just making sure every little nook and cranny is as clean as it can be before those coatings go on to protect the surfaces. So now the wheels are clean, it was just a case of going around all of the panel gaps and edges, cleaning out any polish, just to make sure again that the vehicle is going to be as clean as possible when the coatings go on, but also it will be ready for collection as soon as the final layer of coating goes on too. Once that was complete, it was time for our coatings. So we obviously gave the car a panel wipe first, and then it was a single layer of 9H that we were applying to this. As normal with the silver package, I'm sure you're used to seeing that by now. We apply with a microfiber applicator and buff straight off, a panel at a time. And I'm sure you agree, these brake hubs were also looking really rough, so we decided to give these a clean up, and also the edges of the disc. There was a few areas which were just not looking quite right. The disc could have almost done with being replaced, but we thought as a temporary measure, giving them a clean up with a wire brush whilst we're cleaning up the calipers. Not with a wire brush, we're not using a wire brush on the calipers, that would be ridiculous. But I'm sure you can agree that looks much better than what they did a few seconds ago. So then it was time to go around the fiddly areas that aren't polisher accessible. So we used to cut a bit of microfiber and an all-in-one polish, and go around the chrome on the grills and the slats on there too, just to give them a good clean up and make them look much more presentable. So we now have the wheel coatings on and the caliper coatings also. The discs are cleaned up, the arches are looking a bit better. So now it's time to turn our attention to the leather repairs. We actually already had this colour in stock from another car that we did about a year ago. There was a slight match issue just on the armrest, but we managed to mix another colour with it to fix that. So the first step in that is sanding the leather down. So the leather is now sanded and cleaned and degreased using the whole array of colour lock products, and now it's ready for colour. So we just apply this using a little sponge, dabbing it on and building up layers until we achieve the desired finish. So now it's time for the wheels to go back on and be torqued up, tyre dressings to be applied, and then we can get the car back on the floor, ready for the final finishing touches and the final layers of coating. So we are now currently spraying on the final layer of Ceramic Pro top coat, and this is going to mark the end of the detail really, but if you've made it this far through the video, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel and show us some support. Share the video somewhere if you can. If you're on a page which is relevant to this car, please do share it, and all these little things are going to help our channel grow hugely, and we do really appreciate it. But yeah, we'll catch you on Sunday at 6 PM next week. Stay tuned though just to enjoy the final finished shots of the car, and yeah, and I'll catch you at the end of the video. So there we have it, the M5 is now ready for collection. Obviously it's had a single stage paint enhancement with a few extra little bits in certain areas. One layer of each coating, so one layer of Ceramic Pro 9H and one layer of top coat on the paintwork. A Ceramic Pro rain on the glass, the wheels removed and coated front and back, the calipers coated, the engine bay cleaned, leather repairs done inside, and all of the grills and plastics spray coated with top coat too. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, please excuse my voice, I'm starting to lose it a little bit. And also don't forget to smash a like on the video, and we'll catch you on Sunday at 6 PM next week.